Welcome to Pensar Basketball Live. Bring on all your overreactions. Let's get to it. The Toronto Raptors curb stomp the Indiana Pacers. Boom, baby, boom, no more. Because the Indiana Pacers are not the team that we remember in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and they do not look like themselves right now. Now, there's a lot to be said about role players. You look at these two rosters, you see the injuries. You're like, well, they've got Haliburton. That's an all-star. They got Pascal Siakam. That's a max player, two-time All-NBA guy. We're missing our two best players, so this should be a win for Indiana. That's how Vegas thought, with a plus 3.5 for the Pacers. But the reason the line was so murky, given the fact that the Raptors had lost 7 straight, was because the Indiana Pacers were missing some very big pieces. And smart people know that teams need to play defense at some point in the game, some level of competency to win a basketball game. The Indiana Pacers were without Andrew Nembhard. They were without Aaron Nesmith, and they were without Myles Turner. Defense, defense, defense. There goes your defense. And that is already one of the worst defenses in the NBA, playing without arguably the three best defenders. So what was it going to be? There was one path to victory for the Indiana Pacers, and that was going to be a lot of turnovers for the Toronto Raptors. And the Raptors, on their part, did a lot to help the Indiana Pacers get back into this game in the third quarter. TJ McConnell. It was like the three T's: turnovers, TJ McConnell, and Tyrese Haliburton. Tyrese Haliburton being so bad was not on my bingo card. I thought after how he struggled to close out last year after that injury, which he sustained, mid-season, you thought he was going to come back like gangbusters. Freshly inked a supermax contract. Tyrese Haliburton, I want to be cautious when I say this, has played worse than a role player this year. Let me give you some stats to feed on. Coming into this game, Pascal Siakam was shooting a career best 65% true shooting. He was also shooting, if it holds, which it probably won't, a 46% clip from the three-point line. Pascal Siakam has been largely awesome. He is also posting a career best 4.3 offensive box plus minus. Pascal Siakam, not really the problem in Indiana. He's part of the defensive problem, though. He's not the most egregious, but he is a really big part of the defensive problem because he is also posting a career worst -1 defensive box plus minus. Without Tyrese Haliburton playing like a borderline MVP candidate like he was last year, let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Tyrese Haliburton coming into last year was supposed to take a step towards maybe third-team All-NBA. He came out looking like a first-team All-NBA guy. He was posting 13, 12 box plus minus. He was going insane. People were calling him the best point guard in the league. We were having these conversations this time 12 months ago. Right now, Tyrese Haliburton, 2 straight years of being an all-star the last 2 years, 2 straight years of around 7 plus box plus minus, is currently posting a 0.7 box plus minus, and I guarantee it went down tonight because this is one of the worst games I've seen him play. Credit to the Raptors. They showed up to play. They showed up to play undermanned. The Raptors were also without a lot of healthy bodies. No Jakob Poeltl, no Bruce Brown in cowboy outfit, no Scotty Barnes joining Bruce Brown in cowboy outfit, no Kelly Olynyk, no Bruno Fernando. Have I missed somebody? There's a lot of guys out. No Emmanuel Quickley. And the Raptors got a scary fall from Jamal Shead, and they almost lost Jamal Shead when he came down awkwardly on the hand. We're going to do the full film breakdown. We're going to take a look at the game stats, and we're going to take a look at how this game went, but it wasn't close. It was not close. The Raptors made it closer than it needed to be, but it was never in doubt who was going to win this game from the opening jump. It was like they stomped them right away. RJ 3, Grady 3, Jakob dunk. It was over. The Indiana Pacers did not show up tonight. Fair where fair is due. I don't want to just slander the Indiana Pacers. They were on the second night of a back-to-back. They were missing their best defenders. Boo-hoo. Okay, the Toronto Raptors are missing really good players too. And the Indiana Pacers, for my money, are supposed to be the much better team. And they're below 500. They're 2 games below 500 now. So, let's, there's that old adage, act like you've been there before. We are losers of 7 straight. It probably feels nice right now to start over exaggerating everything. Oh, Jakob Poeltl is a superstar. He's a top 5 center. RJ Barrett's a superstar. Davion Mitchell's a competent NBA player. Yo, you do what you want to do in your spare time. That's not what I'm going to do here. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I saw. I'm gonna show you the film. I'm gonna show you how absolutely egregious the Indiana Pacers defense was tonight, how abysmal Tyrese Haliburton was. For all of the maligning, he doesn't get enough of it. Honestly, he is very protected. There's a lot of people in the NBA media who love him. And I was one of those people. I love Tyrese Haliburton until I saw him switch up last year. And the player I'm watching right now is the worst version I've ever seen of him in my life. Not rookie Tyrese Haliburton. He can't get separation. He can't make a shot. His jump shot looks wonky. His playmaking has regressed. His defense is absolutely embarrassing. Tyrese Haliburton has been an embarrassment. He could become very quickly one of the worst contracts in the NBA if he continues to do this, because he's never going to give it to you defensively. But if he cannot create his own shot and he cannot get any separation and he's not the twitchiest athlete to begin with, you understand where this is going. They're not going to be able to trade that contract. That's a lot of money in today's NBA. That's a supermax contract. And I want to be clear about something. The Indiana Pacers went all in on this vision of Tyrese Haliburton leading them like prime Jason Kidd. Number one, prime Jason Kidd was always better than Tyrese Haliburton. Number two, prime Jason Kidd played defense. So if you're building an offense around an engine who won't run, you're in trouble. And if you want something to really rejoice about tonight and maybe look forward to, let me tell you something. The Toronto Raptors have the Indiana Pacers 2026 first round pick, top 4 protected. And that's right now looking like a lottery pick, because I don't have any faith in Ben Mathurin long term. I don't know what they're doing with Jarris Walker. He's been playing well this season, but, didn't play super well tonight. The Pascal Siakam contract is probably going to age like milk. And Tyrese Haliburton is not the engine that you thought he was. The Indiana Pacers were the best tonight when TJ McConnell was running the show, by far. By far. Problem with TJ, incomplete player, can't really shoot from the outside. So you're trading twos for threes. The Raptors shot a blistering, damn near 50% from three and damn near 60% from the field. It was crazy. We're going to get into the stats. Then we're going to get into the film breakdown. Lots of film to break down. I think there's at least 30 clips from tonight. And then we'll get to your calls. If you want to call in, let's call in. Last night we did a live. We created the fourth quarter gang. If you joined the gang, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you had a really great day. All right. Did I say 2025? Did I say 2025? I thought I said 2026. I'm like 95% sure I said 2026. Yes, 2026 top 5 protected. Top 4 protected. Sorry, I've been getting my 2024, 2025, 2026 mixed up because we're like right on the precipice of 2025, but yes. Lyra Alvarez saying fourth quarter gang needs a group chat. Oak Tree saying, no, you said 2026. Okay. Well, Samuel Barefoot, thank you for the super chat regardless. Oh, sorry, I'm dumb. May I have my $2 back? Sure. Email me and I'll e-transfer you the money. Okay. Okay, let's get to this. Okay. So in terms of the Raptors tonight, you got a combined 69 points from RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl. These two have been going off in that pick and roll, and they took the bulk of the offense tonight. And honestly, it was unstoppable. It was really unstoppable. The Pacers did not have a single big who could do anything about Yak, and Yak's gravity opened up all sorts of angles at the rim for RJ Barrett. So he was very efficient, and good thing to see RJ Barrett have a bounce back game from 3, 4 for 8 from 3. 39 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 turnovers, including I think there was 4 or 3 of those turnovers were in the third quarter when things were going really bad. But he put it together. He was a plus 12 in a game that you won by 11. Cool. That was cool. Davion Mitchell, solid tonight. I think he was a really big part of Tyrese Haliburton's terrible night. I don't think he was the reason for Tyrese Haliburton's terrible night, but he leads the team with a plus 26. And he was competent tonight. He was competent. He even took Tyrese Haliburton off the bounce, and we're going to take a look at that clip for sure. Jakob Poeltl, as I mentioned, 30 points, 15 assists, 6 turnovers. So Yak and RJ combined for 11 turnovers. They were a really big part of some of those issues in the fourth, but I don't want to say all those turnovers were on Yak. A couple of those were some sloppy passes thrown to him. I don't know if you got those. Chris Boucher with 3 blocks, including 2 in a matter of 5 seconds that we're definitely going to look at on jumpers. One from Johnny Furphy and one from Obi Toppin. That was pretty cool. And Jamal Shed, really tough game with the turnovers. A lot of live ball turnovers, and 2 of them at least were on TJ McConnell. Really sloppy with the basketball, but 4 points, 2 for 5 shooting, and kudos to him for coming back into the game. Garrett Temple, revelation, man. Garrett Temple running point Garrett. Can I see more point Garrett? Like, that was awesome. Finding Jamison Battle in the corner, in transition, getting down on the ground, loose ball, talking to the crew at the halftime, saying, if I got to practice what I preach, and et cetera, et cetera. If I'm telling Scotty to do this, I got to do this. Cool, man. I like Garrett Temple. I've always liked Garrett Temple, and love having him on the team. Jonathan Mobile only with 13 minutes tonight. I could do without that, honestly. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, Darko probably wanted to win this game, probably to end this 7-game losing streak. But Jonathan Mobile played well, reasonably well. At least in his first stint, he played well. The second stint wasn't so great. But 4 points, 3 rebounds. He had 3 offensive rebounds tonight, including a putback dunk. That was pretty cool. And again, Chris Boucher, ever the hustle guy, 4 points, 7 rebounds. For the Pacers side, let's see what the Pacers got. The big, concern coming into this game was going to be TJ McConnell. He shoots 4 for 11 from the field, so that doesn't kill you. Obi Toppin got hot a little bit late, but he started out pretty cold. 19 points for him off the bench. Ben Mathurin, you got to give up something. And I'll be honest, like 28 points, but he got a lot of them later in the game, right? For the most of the game, you kept him on ice, right? Tyrese Haliburton, the aforementioned Tyrese Haliburton, 16 points, 4 assists. Bro, like, it was very common to see a Tyrese Haliburton box score at this time last year. And it was like 27 points, 18 assists. You know what I mean? Like 16 points on 5 for 18 shooting, 2 for 9 from 3 with that wonky ass jump shot, 39 minutes played. He didn't help them in the 39 minutes he played. I'm going to tell you right now, they would have been better off playing James Johnson tonight. They literally could have played Tristan Newton tonight. I don't care who you played. Play Johnny Furphy. He left the game in the second half, but play anybody but that dude, man. I guarantee you, we haven't looked at the advanced box score, but I guarantee he was one of the worst players on the court tonight. Pascal Siakam in his return to Toronto. Didn't see too many spicy P jerseys tonight, but 25 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and he got I'm going to say this. He kept them in the game in the first half a little bit, just giving them just enough offense, right? Getting to the line, etc. with his, but they kept him on ice, man. They guarded him so well. Jakob, there, Ochai, Grady, right? Like, they really participated. RJ got a couple possessions on him, but man, defensively, he was helpless against RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett cooked him repeatedly tonight. He was probably their best player. Jarris Walker, cold night, man. 25 minutes, 6 points, 4 rebounds. Honestly, he's been playing pretty well this year, so that's a great job by the Raptors. Take a look at the team stats. This is going to blow your mind. Blow your mind, it will, because the Toronto Raptors shot 58.5% from the field and 48.3% from the 3. Yikes. They took 11 less threes and just made 1 less 3. That's the difference. And they lived at the line. They got to the line 28 times. Once again, free throws were an issue down the stretch, but 71%. Can't be too mad at that. The Raptors demolished them on the glass, largely because there were more rebounds to get for the Raptors because the Pacers missed way more shots, 47-32. In terms of the assists, the Raptors don't quite get to that 30 mark, and that is probably what I didn't like about this game. It became very ball dominant. In the second half, it seemed like guys were gunning for theirs. Not trying to throw shade on 39-point man, but he was really gunning for his late. And it seems like in the third quarter, everything became stagnant. Jamal Shed became stagnant. Davion Mitchell became stagnant. It felt like the Raptors were trying not to lose this game, right? There were times in the game where it just felt like, what are you guys doing? You're crossing the hash mark you're crossing half court at the 8-second mark. You're getting into your offense 14 seconds into the clock, and then you're turning it over. And it's usually live ball turnovers, or it's a really bad shot, or it's a strip on a drive, and the guy falls out of bounds. If they were healthy, you can't play this game. Like, what you did tonight is the antithesis of development for me. Like, this is not one of those This is not one of those games where you're like, yes, you played perfect basketball and they played shit basketball. Sorry, or you played perfect basketball and you held them at bay. No, they held themselves at bay. They shot themselves in the foot repeatedly. They took dumbass shots. Ben Mathurin looked like he was playing drunk half the time. Like it was just a terrible game for Indiana. Terrible. They sold this game so hard. But for the Raptors part, in a game where you score 130 points, for you not to break the 30 assist mark, given how you play, which is a lot of assist farming, it really does show just how one-on-one this game got towards the end of it, which is unfortunate because that nearly cost them the game, right? At one point, they were up by 22. Let's take a look at the game cast because the Pacers walked into this win probability on their side. Watch how quickly it dipped and it never came back. The Raptors pretty much held above 82% win probability the entire second half. So yes, you bent a little bit, right? You allowed them to get it to, what was the score? Hang on one second. So you allowed them to get it to 89-102, which is a 13-point gap. 9 minutes to go again, but you never really felt it was on their side, right? They got to 93-102, so they closed it to 9. Grady Dick missed a layup. But then, you come back and it's like, it's a Boucher defensive rebound, Ochai Agbaji making free throws, Ben Mathurin making a 2, and it's just so on, so on. And then you just held pretty much like serve at 99.9% the rest of the way. In terms of the game flow, you can take a look at it, man. The Raptors just took this lead in the second quarter and bend but don't break. They never quite gave it up, right? They let it narrow, but they never let the Indiana Pacers completely blow it. And again, take a look at the Raptors. They made 1 3 apart from the corners. They missed everything above the break. Everything above the break. Jamal Shed, Jamison Battle. What? Ochai Agbaji got blocked by Tyrese Haliburton. Jamal, that's Davion Mitchell. That's RJ Barrett. But everything from the corners. Grady, RJ, Davion, Garrett Temple, RJ Barrett. That's Jamison Battle. RJ Barrett. So yeah, man, and then you lived in the paint, right? You demolished them in the paint. Okay. So we close that and let's open this up. We got Coach Mo coming up right after the film session, but if anyone else wants to call, you can get right in line. Okay. Share screen. Okay. So I did something different today, which is I created a game preview. Here were my keys to the game. Own the glass. Check. Stop Haliburton. Check. Avoid turnovers. Nope. Be competitive with the bench. Not really. Find shooters. Yes. Attack weaker perimeter defenders. Off ball with Ochai, Grady, and RJ. Well, RJ checked the box. And Jakob Poeltl over Myles Turner trade-off. Well, Myles Turner didn't play, so that was pretty easy to accomplish. Okay. So that was like my game breakdown. I broke down the preview and stuff like that. If you guys like that stuff, guess what? I added it to the description of this video as well. So now you have something to read if you're waiting for the game at some point. Okay, now I hope this worked out well. Okay, so because these are posted in chronological order, let me just go down to the first play. So I posted these under a thread and then I posted a second. So this was closing the quarter strong. That can't be the first. Man, these are all out of order. But okay, let's take a look at these plays. This was a just abysmal defensive effort here from Obi Toppin, who just runs right past. I mean, this is what they teach you to do. But what's Pascal Siakam doing here? He's just like, nah, I don't feel like closing out. There's 1 second to go. What are you worried about the rebound for, Pascal Siakam? Bro, I got to tell you, I know there's still a lot of Pascal Siakam fans here, but watching him play tonight on defense, it really pissed me off. And I was just like, man, if he was playing for the Raptors right now, I'd be really upset with this performance. But he doesn't play for the Raptors anymore. We're not paying him. Jamison Battle, long shot, long rebound. He got it back. But just to give you an idea of how much the Pacers pressured the basketball, here's one of Chris Boucher's 2 blocks on Johnny Furphy. This was awesome. Just smacked it out of nowhere. I don't think Furphy's ever had that happen at Kansas last year. Jakob Poeltl, Look at this play. This was awesome. All right. So Ochai nearly loses the basketball here to Jarris Walker. And Jakob just has the presence of mind to knock it back to Ochai. And within less than a second of processing, he notices the corners open. And Jarris Walker is like, I guess that's my man. Like the most open shots you've ever seen in your life. Really. Like that's really what it is. And I said, bye bye, Tank. Just so you know where I was on this game, 9 minutes, like 3 minutes into the first quarter, I said, bye bye, Tank. This game's over. Just watching how the Pacers guarded this possession. Look at Benedict Mathurin. This is so embarrassing. Bro, RJ Barrett is not a non-shooter that you can just stand 4 or 5 feet away from him and put up a hand. Like Benedict Mathurin is an embarrassingly bad defender too, man. You start so many bad defenders and you expect to win a basketball game. At times tonight, if the Raptors could compose themselves on the turnovers and manage their shot selection and get rid of some of their, one-on-one demons, they could have beaten this team by 45 tonight. It's really that their defense was just that hopeless. And yeah, I'm sure RJ gets the chain tonight, but yeah, okay. Jarris Walker is actually a really competent defender, so this is going to be a really good defensive possession overall. But RJ just makes a really great shot. Great shot. Baits the shot blocker into jumping, gets him on the pump fake. Now, this was another great dime from RJ Barrett. Look at that. Behind the back to Jonathan Mobo. Mobo waits for Siakam. Again, egregious defense, right? You're going to say, oh, well, what do you want Siakam to do, Rob? Well, first of all, I'll say he's not on your team anymore, so you can stop glazing him. Second of all, that is a player who has pretty much not finished under the basket once contested this season. Like I'm willing to bet Jonathan Mobo doesn't have 3 under the basket contests. He's notoriously bad at this. If Siakam wanted to block this, he could have blocked it. Didn't want to block it. Just wanted to put his hands up and look active, which is frustrating. Okay, I'm going to guess before this play even starts that this is another Jamal Shed turnover. Dancing with the basketball, and here we go. Punches it, Jackson to TJ McConnell. And again, plays like this worry you because they make the offense, they make the other team's offense go. And again, if you clean up some of these very unforced errors, you absolutely blow them up by 45 tonight. Like 40 to 45, easy. Okay. Ochai Agbaji. Two-way menace is what I called him. All right. There's Grady Dick pulling off what I can only call a vet move. Look at this. Look at how he baits Furphy. Yo, Grady Dick has the same energy as Larry Bird. When he sees a white guy on him, he goes nuts. You saw him when he saw Dalton connect on him, he went nuts. He was like, oh, you? That's how Larry Bird used to process that. Don't put white players on me. Boom. Is it possible to be racist against yourself? I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, boom. Grady with a little up and under James Harden move there. James Harden and DeMar DeRozan have made a career out of that. And good for Grady to use Furphy's anxious tendencies to want to block this shot as a longer defender against him. Because I mean, it's funny. There's 3 Kansas Jayhawks in this game. Johnny Furphy, notoriously last year, a lot of Raptor fans wanted him over Jonathan Mobo. Tonight, you got to look at Johnny Furphy. All right. So here's Jakob Poeltl. It's going to make a nice pass to Grady Dick. Look at how comfortable this is. Again, Jarris Walker's a little undersized. He's about 6'7". He's not going to block this. And Grady, good job shielding the basketball and extending around Jarris Walker. That was the brilliant thing. Last year, guaranteed that's an offensive foul or that's a block, right? Remember that Chris Boucher block on a 3 earlier? Yeah, well, he's going to do it again. Chris Boucher used to lead the league in block shots on 3-pointers and close out to the corners as he would chase out like a demon in Nick Nurse's scheme. Well, tonight we got a little bit of that. Little step back 3 for RJ Barrett. No good. Doesn't matter. You got Jonathan Mobo there to clean it up. That was cool, man. Good active game for Jonathan Mobo getting involved. This is Wait, is this the same play? It is the same play. My bad. Posted it twice. Okay. Now let's get out of here and let's get to the other plays because there's way more plays to break down. Okay. Here we go. Now this is a little bit of Pascal Siakam Ole defense, man. If you think Tyrese Haliburton is bad on defense, which he absolutely is, watch Pascal Siakam here. What do you think is going to happen, Pascal? That is an open layup. How do you give a player an open layup? You're right there. Like, this drove me crazy with him last year when he would do this and he would just stand there and he would like point his finger at other players and be like, "What, Scotty, were you supposed to get it? Yeah. Were you not going to have my back?" I don't know what happened to this dude, man. He played defense like a menace during the Raptors championship run, but now, geez, and show me that you are a winner by how you play defense and how you compete on the defensive end. All right. Now here's RJ Barrett dissecting. This is the weirdest play I've ever seen. Okay. First of all, you've got 3 players all honed in on RJ Barrett. You got Ochai Agbaji cutting back door. You got Jakob, who's right here. And honestly, RJ probably could have thrown this to Ochai at some point, but he's not going to because he knows he's got all day. That's an open layup. What is Tyrese Haliburton doing? What's Pascal Siakam doing? What's Obi Toppin doing? This is like the Bermuda Triangle of shit defense. Like, what the hell? It's the worst defensive team I've ever seen in my life. They are so egregiously bad. They are an offense to basketball. They are really offensive to watch. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just their style of play. It's just their ass cheeks defense that is so embarrassing to watch over and over. You can literally run a high school team could run circles around this team sometimes. Maybe not on offense, but defensively, they could definitely get some buckets on them. Here, you say Jakob Poeltl doesn't like to dunk? Well, not when Grady's passing the ball. Grady with a little up, and Jakob's like, let me get that. Let me get that dunk. Let me get that dunk. I'm a 30-point per game scorer now. I'm Shaquille O'Neal now. Keep playing these teams this way, I'm going to be a 30-point per game scorer. Now, this was a turning point for the Raptors, which, started a series of mistakes, but this is the second turnover for RJ Barrett. And again, there's an obvious pass here to Jonathan Mubz, right? And there's a far less obvious and way worse pass to Chris Boucher, which is going to be right through Tyrese Haliburton. And I don't know how he doesn't see Tyrese Haliburton here, but he pretty much throws the basketball right to him. So again, right now, you need to fake manipulate the defense, back up a little bit, and drop this right over Obi's head to Jonathan Mubz for a dunk. Obviously, you're not passing out to Davion Mitchell because you're not stupid. Okay, Garrett Temple is also on the court, and he is technically open, but throwing it to Chris Boucher is just the worst idea that RJ Barrett had tonight. And, they paid for it. Point Garrett. We got to talk about Point Garrett. He's done this multiple times this year, and he's actually pretty competent as a point guard. And if Jamal Shead has an MRI and he's out for any amount of time, someone's going to have to step in and play point guard for the Raptors. My money is on RJ Barrett and Garrett Temple. Okay. Obi Toppin is in the 4th row. That is how much he cares. Watch this. Watch Obi at the top left. He's pointing to Jamison Battle. Who is he pointing to? We don't know, because Jarris Walker is doing the right thing here, but Obi Toppin is late. And we don't even know who the 4th defender is, but he isn't on the court right now. Who is he? He hasn't even made it down. Who the hell is the 4th defender? Probably Pascal Siakam? I'm willing... 3rd quarter, 1 minute to go. Maybe it wasn't Siakam. I'm not sure who the 4th defender is supposed to be in this play, but the Raptors are playing 5-on-4, and they get a wide open 3 out of it. And as far as I'm concerned, you're not going to guard Jamison Battle? Like, you're just going to leave him? You're going to surrender an open 3 to the second best 3-point shooter on the Raptors. Cool. Keep doing that. I tell you, man, the Pacers are an embarrassment to basketball. All right. Now, the Pacers do like to play this gimmicky pressure-style defense. They've been doing it for years now, 2 years under Rick Carlisle. They like to do a lot of what the Raptors do, right? They like to everyone just scram and push into the basketball, dig into the basketball, try to get deflections, etc., try to force turnovers because they really don't care about defense. They're really just trying to fuel their offense. And TJ McConnell's a pretty decent pressure, point of attack type of defender. And tonight, TJ McConnell really took Jamal Shead's cookies, right? And this is going to be a very big dunk for, Obi Toppin. There are certain players who live to do certain things. RJ Barrett, he lives to score the basketball, right? Scotty Barnes, he lives to play defense. Obi Toppin lives to dunk the basketball. Now, this was the Jamal Shead injury that luckily he came back from, but this is a very scary fall. You never want to see that type of fall where a player pretty much breaks their fall with their wrist. Like, my first thought, he put his face in his jersey and his reaction was so bad that I immediately thought he had snapped his hand in half. The way that he reacted to that, the fact that he came out from that is really just amazing. But just even the way his shoulder is sort of hanging here made me think, did he dislocate his shoulder? It's almost like he's like, is it the hand? Is it the shoulder? It's just something was bothering me about how he reacted to that. And it's just like the way he dipped his head into his jersey after he took that fall was like, damn, like this is bad, right? Or this could be really bad. Okay. Whew. 13 turnovers in the second half, and this is one of them. Oh my goodness. Listening to Alvin Williams say that Jakob Poeltl grabs everything. I mean, this is a pretty bad pass from Ochai Agbaji, but this is like a terrible handle. Did he get pushed in the back there? Fully he did. He did get pushed in the back. So Obi Toppin pushes him. So it's not just a turnover. Jakob Poeltl is pushed and nearly falls over. So anyways, some physical play that wasn't called. Nevertheless, the Raptors win. Okay, let's check this out. Okay. Now this is Ochai Agbaji stuffing Pascal Siakam. Now, I have talked about Ochai Agbaji's rim defense pretty much all year. It's one of the biggest reasons I'm so high on him, largely because of how quickly he gets up. Now, watch how quickly he gets up to his jump. And he hasn't jumped yet. He hasn't jumped yet. He hasn't jumped yet. He hasn't jumped yet. Now, Pascal Siakam's up, right? They both jump at the same time. So technically, the bigger player should have the advantage, right? But the difference is Ochai jumps quicker. Let me slow that down so you can see this in real time. I think Ochai's jumping is one of the most underrated parts of what makes him so special, but watch this. This is now slowed down to like frame by frame. So they're both, Siakam actually gets off the ground first. Ochai is still on the ground right now. So Siakam's off the ground. Siakam has the advantage right now, right? This is too late. We just saw this. We just saw Grady do this to Jarris Walker, right? When you jump first and you get there first, that's everything, right? So right now, Siakam should have a lay-in because Ochai is late and he's smaller. He's 6'4.5". Siakam's 6'9". But watch how he continues to rise after Siakam. Like, you see what I mean? He jumped later. Sorry to get nerdy about this, but this is just one of the coolest things about Ochai Agbaji that just he's still in the air and Siakam's already down. So he just got up way higher, way quicker. Just watch that one more time. Dun, 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 dun. Get that garbage out of here. Okay. Like, love that, man. That was impressive. Okay. This is Tyrese Haliburton playing defense. Watch. Actually, watch really slow. Because when you watch really slow, you understand just how butt cheeks this guy's defense is. Just watch. How? How did he get there? Davion Mitchell is not Ja Morant, bro. Like, what are you doing? Does he look like he's going left right now? Just a little simple. And then Tyrese Haliburton's like, wait for me. Tyrese Haliburton is like a 6-year-old child when it comes to defense. He's just flailing around, waving his arms at the basketball. Anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about there. Ugh. Daryl saying, oof, Haliburton. Oh, we got a lot of super chats. Oh, that's cool. Okay, let me get to some of these super chats and we're going to get to Coach Mo. And if you would like to call in, call in. Absolutely. We already dealt with this. Justin Stewart saying, can we get a poll? Trade or keep Jakob? Seems like there's a large contingent of fans who'd rather win a few more with Poeltl rather than draft higher. We will definitely run that poll and several other polls once Coach Mo comes on, and I can free up my hands to actually run the polls a little bit. Thank you very much for the super chat. Liam saying, I love your lives, bro, from Brazil. Appreciate you. Fans from Brazil. That's amazing. Thank you very much for your consistent support of this channel. Mitsu saying, what's up, Pan and chat? Hope everyone is feeling good. Thank you so much, Mitsu. And I'm assuming you are from PC, so thank you very much. Felicia with this very generous super chat. Yak should get the chain tonight. Is there a trade market for Yak? We will also get into that. Seems like there's a lot of talk about Jakob Poeltl tonight. So yes, absolutely. Liam saying, pull up the clip of Yak posterizing Giannis. I don't have that on file, but I will look for it. Time for you to say I was right about RJ becoming an all-star. You're not right about RJ becoming an all-star, but I'm very, very happy he had a 39 point game, and I'm very, very happy that you sent the super chat to Boast. Thank you. Appreciate that. Coach Mo, what up?
I'm just happy we got the win. We needed one win. This I never understood the idea with the tankers every game. It's like, dude, do you really want to see us go 2 for 80? Like, is that your goal? Do you know the odds have been flattened? You just need the top 3. And if you look at the percentages, even if you're fourth, the percentages, it's not that much different. Like, this isn't 2005. You don't need the absolute worst record.
Oh,
I mean, it's a bit
absolutely.
extreme. The tankers are a bit extreme, the extremists, I'll say. But boy, I just checked the Indiana Pacers payroll. Tyrese Haliburton and Pascal Siakam make $84 million a year. This year, they're making $84 million. I'm sure Bill Simmons is like, yep, that checks out.
Wow. 84 million?
Combined. They both are 42.
Wow.
And it goes up for both of them.
That's tough. That is very tough.
And you still on Tyrese is hurt? Are we still doing that? Are we still doing Tyrese is hurt?
I don't think so.
All right, so what are we on now? What's the excuse now?
I think the excuse is Tyrese Haliburton is overrated, and I fought this for years as my friend was telling me he was overrated, and I was just like, no, you're just a hater because your Kings traded him. And now I'm realizing friend was right.
Been overrated. I'm watching him get guarded by Jamal Shed, and he cannot believe this guy is guarding him that well. It has to be a foul. He's almost looking at the ref like, are you allowing him to do this to me? Like, you're allowing this to happen?
Do you know who he reminded me of tonight? Charles Barkley in Space Jam. You remember Space Jam? Where the Monstars steal the player's talent?
And
That's who he reminded me of tonight.
And that girl took Charles Barkley to school on that playground court.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tyrese, if you are physical in any way, he's done. That dude looks like he weighs 165 pounds with soaking wet with 2 bricks in each pocket. If you're physical, it's over for that dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he resorts to those. I'm gonna just shoot. And ref, he touched me. He touched me while I threw it. You know those dash ups? We call them dash ups. In the NBA, dash ups work because you get 2 free throws sometimes when you just dash it up. Yeah. He can't get 2 feet in the paint. He can't create separation. He's probably the worst defender in the league. He's not versatile on defense. He plays no defense. He's not versatile on offense, right? He's not multi-positional. He's extremely overrated. And yeah, I'm watching this Indiana team. We all knew when they went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, we were like, that is the luckiest run to a conference finals I have ever seen in my entire life. And
Mhm.
they're about to get swept by Boston. And Boston walked. It was a sleepwalk sweep.
Yeah.
They did not take him serious at all. And they still got swept.
Hmm. One of
That
the polls that
2026 pick looking juicy. If it's led by Tyrese and Siakam, oh yeah. I'm liking that 2026 pick.
it could be nice. I mean, I was expecting a little bit more growth from Jarris Walker, a little bit more, right? Tetrahedron saying, how old is Jakob? He's 29. Gregory saying a few of the regulars want Coach Mo to switch back to the picture of Dennis and maybe do another impression of him.
He's
Oh,
leading he's leading the he's leading the
he's
the
leading the
net.
movement against
Yeah.
Cooper Flag. It's
Yeah, he's
amazing.
making sure the Nets don't get Cooper.
It's amazing.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
leadership.
yeah. There's seems like the poll is very split right now. People don't know what's going on. So far, we
I'm
got
down. I'm down to
26 for
trade him.
yes to trade Jakob Poeltl, 35 for no, and 39% are saying only for multiple firsts. Well, I'll tell you right now, you're not getting multiple firsts. So you can probably chill on that. But you might get a first. I mean, he's playing really well, but other teams are not stupid. They understand how he's playing. Okay. They
Okay,
understand why he's playing well.
I have a retort for some of the things you said when your previous live, because it just reminded me about multiple firsts, which you're not getting for Jakob. You think you're
Mhm.
getting multiple firsts for Damian Lillard right now?
Yes.
How many?
3.
Yeah, you're dreaming. I'd never give up 3 first-round picks for that guy.
You wouldn't. Somebody would.
They're high.
Well, I mean, in theory, would you trade Zach LaVine and 3 first-round picks for Damian Lillard right now?
Zach LaVine and 3 first-round picks.
Would you trade Bradley Beal and 3 first-round picks for Damian Lillard? See my point? Any bad contract?
No, they're
You
bad.
wouldn't?
We just swapped bad contracts, and I gave up 3 first-round picks.
Oh, there's no way you're comparing Damian Lillard to
Bro, the
Bradley
Damian Lillard I'm
Beal.
watching right now, I don't care for either of them. I'm not a Bradley Beal fan.
Did the Rockets beat them?
The Bucks won by 1.
Oh, wow.
And the Rockets imploded at the end. They just imploded. They had like 3 horrible possessions in a row.
Was it Fred?
Bucks suck.
The Bucks do suck. And the Bucks, I mean, the Rockets had won 5 straight going into tonight, so it's worth noting. But yes, wow, by 1 is crazy. I don't know, man. I like Damian Lillard. I don't like his defense, but he puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and like you're still gonna have to guard him way different than you do. Like,
but here's the issue with Lillard. He's a better scorer than Tyrese. I think Tyrese is a better passer, but here's the problem with Dame. He can't turn the corner anymore. It's hard for him to get into the paint. It's hard for him to beat his man off the dribble. These big wings can keep him in front of him for the most part. That's his issue. You see how obviously Jamal Shedd's younger, but Jamal Shedd can bully his way into the rim. Like he just has this downhill. He turns the corner and it's like, I can't keep him in front of me, but we're not really worried about him as a scorer. Lillard can't get into the paint. The reason why Tyrese Maxey's a problem is he's getting into the paint and there's nothing you can do about it. He's getting into the paint. Lillard looks a little heavy. He's obviously older. He's like in his mid-30s now. He just can't get to the paint. He stretches the defense deep, but he's not a paint threat anymore. And he's providing 0 defense.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. And I think some team would do it. I wouldn't want to be the team that did it, but there's a market for him. And he's still like, I don't know, what is Dame? 32, 33? He's a great shooter. He's probably not happy. And you know what? Put him in a different situation. I guarantee you starts averaging 28, 29 points per game. That guy is too good a shooter at this point. Even if he's like your third option, I don't believe the fall off is so egregious. I just can't.
I mean, it happens suddenly. It's never really gradual with the small guards. It's just overnight.
Yeah, but small guards who can shoot like him usually don't regress this fast.
I have a
I think
question
I
for you.
think it has a lot to do with the divorce, man. I really do. I don't want to pry into
Maybe.
people's lives and stuff, but like he allegedly didn't work out last offseason. He was trying not to get hurt so that he can get traded. And like the personal stuff in our lives can really just like it makes a difference.
One thing watching this game, I don't miss watching Siakam play.
Well, that's great because we're just running a poll right now. Who would you rather have, Pascal? Who's better, Pascal Siakam or RJ Barrett? Go for it, chat. Let me know. I mean, prisoner of the moment stuff.
It's
Siakam's been better
Siakam.
this year, but
It's Siakam. Siakam's better. But I just, again, he's also, the chat was like dash up merchant. Siakam, he likes to throw up his dash ups and then look at the ref. I just don't miss him throwing these wild shots at the rim, falling on the floor, screaming, and then they go
Mhm.
on the break. That just happened. I just don't miss that. I just don't miss that. And like you always mentioned, the defense fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Um,
I
oh,
mean, it's very interesting to see like people like getting very excited about RJ Barrett because the same people were crucifying him just like last week on the road trip, right? Because he had
mhm.
7 points and stuff like that. I think this is like the ebbs and flows. If you're going to guard RJ Barrett the way that they did last game, the Celtics, or what Indiana did tonight, if you're going to guard him that way, he's going to get 30 100% of the time. He's too strong. He just like he has that ability to sort of decelerate and then accelerate, like change speeds mid dribble, kind of hang dribble, go left, bump shoulder, little pop. And he's got good touch. So it's going to be very, very difficult to stop unless you have an elite defender or you're going to send two. You're going to help. You're going to zone up, right? So again, like you it's a valuable skill to have. It's a very valuable skill to have. I
Um,
think Siakam's probably like I don't know, man. Sometimes I think about it. I don't think the gap is that big. I used to think the gap was huge. Like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, you asked me, I'm like, oh my God, these are not players in the same realm, same arena. But today I'm like neither one of them are all stars. One of them is like way, way older and way more paid. Like if you're asking me
yeah,
who's better, probably Siakam. If you ask me
yeah.
who I'd rather have on my team, RJ.
No, here's the difference where chat might get confused and they're like, "Yo, Siakam's way better." When Siakam played defense, this question was crazy. When Siakam played defense, this question is insane to even ask.
Facts.
The problem is Siakam plays zero defense now. Zero.
Man, it fell off so hard. Like I thought it was bad in his Toronto days. Like I thought it was bad 3 years ago. I thought it was bad in the bubble because it was bad. Like actually, his defense in the bubble was great. His offense was bad. The
Yes.
next year, it was his defense that sort of regressed a little bit, especially after he had that groin injury. Was it the groin injury or was it the groin injury where he slipped?
Mm-hmm.
And it
Scotty's
just didn't.
second year.
Yeah, it wasn't the same after that with him.
Yeah.
It just the defense did not feel the same. And then in his last season last year, I was just like, oh my God, this guy won't hold a screen. This guy won't box out. He's so egregiously bad on defense. And I thought he wasn't trying. I'm like, he's just sulking because he hates his role on offense. He's just like, all right, you're going to stand me in the corner on offense. I'm not going to do anything on defense. And I thought that was it. I'm like, there's no way this 6'9, twitchy, long defender with great wingspan, who's been a reputable defender, who was once getting compared to Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen, championship run, reputable scouts put their rep on the line and said Pascal Siakam is akin to Scottie Pippen. He's one of the best two-way players in the league. That player, with that defensive effort, matched up with his growth as a shooter, matched up with his ability to handle the basketball at any time, is so sad. Pascal Siakam turned from like the most rags to riches story from that to like a series of what ifs that I constantly have in my mind. What if he
He
cared about defense? What if he
he
could put his body on the line? What if he wouldn't take so many ill-advised twos? What if he like saw the game a little bit better? What if he was just a little bit more physical and a little bit more tough? What if you could screen better? What if you would hold position on those screens a little bit better? It's unfortunate.
He's kind of like a guy who just drank his own Kool-Aid in the sense of how the player he ended up becoming. He's like, I'm too good for these. You guys do them now. That's kind of how it came off. But I mean, yeah, the beginning of Siakam's story, we all loved. I mean, there was no bigger fan of him than me when he broke out in the 2019 season, 2019, 18, 19 season. But let's switch over to Sixers lost again. They're now
Oh,
2-11. We have a better win percentage than them. They lost today to the Heat.
man.
And can I do a victory lap? I just want to say to all the people that said
Nick Nurse.
got us a championship, your boy Nicky Nurse is 2 of 11. Okay. Now I'm going to reiterate this, and you said this also, Rob. Do you know how many
Did
coaches
Embiid play tonight?
He did play. He didn't play well. Do you know how many coaches, Rob, ask this question, and maybe the chat can throw in a number. How many coaches could have won a title with that 2019 team that was assembled?
12, 11, 10. I don't know, something like that.
Double digits. Double
Yeah.
digits. I know.
Spo, Carlisle, easy. Popovich, easy. Riley, bring him out of retirement. Phil Jackson, bring him out of retirement. Right? Brad Stevens, for sure.
Nothing he did that year I thought was special. That team was a title team built to win a championship. Doc Rivers had one of those teams, and they were healthy. We were healthy. And look at Doc now. Sometimes the team was just a championship team.
I don't know if Doc Rivers could have won. Could Doc Rivers have won? Damn. If Doc Rivers could have won, let's just
if you have Lowry, just taking the collective IQ, Lowry, Danny Green, Serge Ibaka, Kawhi Leonard, Marc Gasol, those are the vets. How many conference finals were in that group? How many finals appearances were in that group? How many championships were in the group? And I'm not talking about role players. I'm talking guys who got 30 plus minutes, all-stars. The experience, that has to be one of the most experienced groups ever assembled together.
It was a great team. It was a great team. Like every single time they push on the panel, like, oh, it was just Kawhi. I get so mad. So mad. So mad. Because it's like it completely diminishes what what Masai did. Because Masai built like this really just incredible organization that developed these like brilliant players, and it just really doesn't do it justice. I don't
know. The turnovers were crazy for this game. I checked. I was like, the assist to turnover ratio as a team has to be horrible, and it was horrible. And the one player to me that stuck out, Jamal Shadd needs to cut out the turnovers because your room for error already is slim, right? And you gotta be aware. It's like, TJ McConnell, he tries to pretend like he's not playing defense, then he just jumps at you, right? I never understood these entry passes or these run the offense just lackadaisical. Here you go. I'm going through a drill pass. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just like, and the thing that annoyed me about Chet was he did it twice and then he got caught doing it again. And Nurse called another timeout. I mean, sorry, Darko, but
the fact that you're confusing them is amazing. No, man, it's just like media controls a lot, right? People gas Nick Nurse up as a genius because he's quirky and he kind of looks like one, right? People like to talk about Darko like he's an idiot. I don't know why they like to talk about him like an idiot. Maybe it's his accent. Maybe it's because the team is losing a lot. Maybe it's because people don't like him. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's xenophobia. I have no clue, right? But Darko is not an idiot, right? He's certainly not an idiot. Here's a question for you. did at any point in the second half, did it feel like the Raptors might lose this game?
Nope.
Not even like
No, they
1%.
play no defense, bro. Our problem of closing these games where we couldn't score, that would never be a problem with that team. They play
Mm,
no defense. If that team if they could ratchet up the defense, yes. But their best defenders weren't even playing. How would they have stopped us?
mm.
Could like Rob, could that group that they had on the court, could they just say, you know what, guys, let's defend starting now? Could they have done it?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So we're gonna score. Our
Yeah.
problem was we could never get a basket. We were ahead and we couldn't score. We couldn't even trade baskets. That was our issue. This team can't defend, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think you played a really depleted team tonight, and it doesn't look like you did. So I think a lot of people are going to victory lap and get really excited. And honestly, for those people who are getting excited right now, I think they deserve this moment. So I'm not going to do the thing that I did last year or 2 years ago, where I come in and tell you why your parade is rigged. I don't like this comment right here from Recruiter Dude. Am I the only one who hated this game? Our guards giving up dribble early in possessions, leading to turnovers, ball hogging in the fourth when RJ trying to show up Matherin, and poor defense. Nothing you're saying is wrong. Recruiter Dude, 100%. What you're saying is right. And thankfully, everybody can see that. Everyone who's looking at this game can see what it is for what it is. However, there is another fan out there who really just cannot bear the sight of an 8-game losing streak, a 9-game losing streak, a 10-game losing streak. You don't know how many fans DM me and say, Rob, when are the Raptors going to win again? We really need a win. We can't, etc. And who am I to tell you how to be a fan? Who am I to tell you, like, how many different ways, how many different videos can I make saying it's not about wins and losses? I mean, shit. Jakob Poeltl himself said today it's not about wins and losses. We're winning in other ways, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like for the team itself, yes, it's a momentary high in a very long road. It doesn't mean very much. And honestly, to those people, to answer your previous point, where when you talked about people who just want everyone to tank, yo, even tanking teams win like 12, 13, 15 games.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You don't have to have a meltdown every single time you win a game. You're still one of the worst teams in the league. And, the more I look into this draft coming up, the more I see so much talent scattered from 1 to 9, 1 to 8, 1 to 7. I see so much talent in the second round. There's a player over in Indiana, a Nigerian American player whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce right now until I get someone, of Nigerian origin to tell me how to say it. Mbako. I'm pretty sure that's like something how he's going to say it. I just said I wasn't going to try to say it, and then I just said it. So I hope Mackenzie Mbako. Struggling hard, bro.
The
Like,
announcers are
honestly.
going to fuck it up when he goes pro. Don't worry.
There's going to be an anglicization of it, but somebody help me out. Like help me say it. Because I had it last night and now I've forgotten it. Anyways, this guy's going off. He's going crazy. He's currently mocked as the 31st pick, 31st pick. And he can shoot. And he's going off. He's like, I think 17 box plus minus right now. That's the 31st pick right now. That's your Portland pick. Well, not quite your Portland pick. 35th is your Portland pick right now. Provided Portland, Carter Bauer saying Mbako is legit. I think it is Mbako. Anyways, so there's him. There's like 7 other players that I looked at between 20 and 40 that I was like, oh my God, this would be such a perfect fit. Big playmakers, centers, stretch fives. Dude, the Brandon Carlson, like that's going to be nothing. You're not going to care about that in a year, right? So it's a longer term vision of what the Raptors are trying to do, I think. And yeah.
I want to talk about the updates on the injured guys because Scotty will be reevaluated tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We don't play until Thursday. There were rumors he might come back with a mask. I don't know. Like, is there a possibility he plays Thursday?
No.
Okay. So when do you think the earliest he plays?
Hold on, let me look at the schedule. So
Because
yes.
they said they'll reevaluate him in 3 weeks. Tomorrow is 3 weeks.
Yeah, reevaluate in 3 weeks does not mean play in 3 weeks.
Of
Okay,
course.
so let's see here.
Because
So we are at Indiana, which was November 18th. Then we have Thursday versus Minnesota. Minnesota is a train wreck right now. Then we have 3 days off at Cleveland. That's interesting. So we have a 2-game homestand. We get a lot of home cooking here. You could beat Minnesota. I'm not kidding. Minnesota is like not playing well. Not playing well at all. So you could beat them. Okay. And then you got at Cleveland, at Detroit, at New Orleans, at Miami. So it's a 4-game road trip. I think
everything
he
but
probably
Cleveland
comes
is
back.
winnable.
Hmm?
Everything but Cleveland is so winnable.
Oh my God, New Orleans is terrible. Detroit is not very good. And Miami is falling apart. Yeah,
They're
you
not
could
good
easily
either.
mount like a 6-game win streak right now, and then boom, there goes We the North Part 2. Look, man, like I made a live last night. I don't know how many people watched it because I made it at 3 a.m., which is the Raptors are not tanking. And literally the next day they win a game. It's not prophetic. It's just me saying they're not going out and trying to lose games on purpose. And to the people who really desperately, desperately, desperately need that top 3 pick to feel like, oh my God, there's like, we need a superstar. You have a superstar. He just hasn't played much this year. And he's going to come in and he's going to show you why. He's going to show you why he's a superstar. But I understand like there's still a segment of fans out there that, fall on 2 extremes. Number 1 is lose everything, lose every game. I want to be, 3-79 at the end of the year. There's another fan that's like, no, 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 no. We got to try to win every game. Are these the only 2 options? Why can there be no balanced centrism anymore? Like, why are we so extreme? Is it because we're looking for a fight? Maybe. I don't know. But like, I think we need to come to a somewhat of a middle agreement on how the Raptors are supposed to. Yes, I did. To answer the question, Icewind, did you talk about the Tatum travel? Laugh my ass off. Yes, I talked about it literally before the last 2-minute report. I talked about it on our film breakdown that night.
I have a question for you. When do you see this team getting healthy? Because at some point, this injury bug will have to lift, you assume. So let's say we're in the beginning of January and no trades have been made. Do you think we'll be healthy by then? Like just assuming luck switches over? Kelly will be on the court, Bruce will be on the court, Scotty, IQ. I would assume so, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at the schedule, right? You have so many favorable. Lyra Alvarez, I'm gonna let you on in like 2 minutes, man. Let me just go through the schedule here quickly. We have Detroit. Okay, so we have Minnesota versus Minnesota, at Cleveland, at Detroit, at New Orleans, at Miami. All gettable except for Cleveland for the most part, right? Then we have versus Miami, versus Indiana, versus a centerless Oklahoma City Thunder, versus Dallas, versus Brooklyn, New York, Houston, right? I'm not saying you're going to run the table at all. I'm just saying there's a path. It's so early in the season. There's still a path to being like a 38-win team, which is firmly playing. In the
Bro,
East right now, it's so depleted. It's firmly a playing team.
I think there's a path to even more than 38 wins. Depending on how healthy we get, we're not
That's tough.
we're too good to be top 3 bad.
Hmm.
We're too good. We're too good. The
Yeah,
only way we
I've
could
felt
have
that
been
way too.
the only way we could be top 3 bad is Scotty and IQ don't come back till like end of January and we lose like every game. They're too good. Once we're healthy, they have to sabotage this team. They got to trade Yak. They got to sit dudes out longer. We're too competitive as is. And you don't think Grady and RJ and Shed and Mogul and Battle are getting better off this? Then you add players better than them into the mix?
Yeah.
No, it's not possible. We're not top 3. It's not happening.
No, I agree with you. I
No.
think I've been on this like pretty much all year that this is going to be a really, really difficult thing to tank because I do believe in a lot of these players are much better than people give them credit for. And what's funny is I did not think that Grady and Ochai were going to be this good this year. So it changes the equation completely. And again, like to those people who are like, "Oh, Rob, but what if we win 5 or 6 straight games and the tank is abandoned?" Well, first of all, if you win 5 or 6 games, you're still like 5 6 games under 500. So that's the first thing. Tank's not abandoned. You're not going to win 5 or 6 games. Let's just be clear about that. There's an upper limit to how many teams you can punish with Davion Mitchell, Jakob Poeltl, guys like this on the court. And then on the other side of it, you have to look at it from the perspective of, okay, so if we do surprise, how many avenues to getting quickly better do we have? We have a ton. We have a ton of avenues to get better. We have tradable contracts. We have future picks. We have, young players that we could possibly mortgage off. Like there's so many ways to buy, right? And again, made several lives this summer saying Raptors should buy on Cam Johnson, largely because I did not anticipate us being this unhealthy to start the season, but largely because I actually do believe in this team. And I think the East is pretty wide open. Underneath, Boston and Cleveland, nobody scares me. Orlando's
Nobody.
a little bit scary. A little bit scary. If they get healthy, they're a little bit scary. But nobody else is scary. New York is not scaring me. It does not scare me. I'm sorry. It doesn't scare me. Like I'm not saying the Raptors should win a 7-game series against the New York Knicks. I'm just saying if they're healthy and they're playing the way I think they could win 2 games. Cleveland is going to be tough. Boston, super tough. But Indiana, Miami, these are the teams I'm supposed to be afraid of. Charlotte, Detroit. No, man. The East is so bad.
Bad.
Egregiously bad. Yeah. Anyways, any final thoughts?
Yeah. Go Raptors, and I'm enjoying the Sixers, man. I'm enjoying the Sixers just shedding themselves. It's just a joy to watch, bro. It's a joy to watch. Go Raptors.
All right, man. Take care. Peace.
All right.
Peace. Mubz, what's up?
Yo, what's good? What's good?
What's up?
I like this win. Jakob
like the
Poeltl
win?
obviously has been
Okay.
Jakob Poeltl been really good these last few games. Double machine. RJ Barrett this whole season has been very very steady. Or yeah,
You mean steady?
yeah. My fault.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What do you
Ochai
think?
obviously. Yeah, sorry.
What do you think of the tank, no tank debate?
I think if we're unhealthy, we just tank, right? Like, but if we get healthy, we get Scotty and IQ. I don't think we can tank because I just think we're too good. That's just my opinion. Like, I know that might be crazy, but like, I feel like with Scotty on this team and how Grady's been playing, how Ochai's been playing, I just think we might be too good to tank.
Would you consider trading Jakob Poeltl?
Wait, what's his contract looking like? How many years he's got left?
3 years left, $19.5 million each year, and he's 29 years old. So it runs him through the entirety of his prime.
Oh, so he's got 3 years left on his contract. Okay. Should we trade him? Well, it honestly depends how we're looking come February. Like if we're still like bottom of the East, bad, I think we should trade him, right? We should.
Sure.
But if we're, because the East is so bad, I could see this team being a 6 seed. I could if Scotty and IQ get healthy and Bruce obviously, but and everyone else. But yeah, so it depends how we're doing.
Right.
Because if we're like an 8 seed, 6 seed, I don't think we should trade Yak at that point, right?
So you wouldn't trade Jakob for a 6 seed? Yeah, that makes sense because I mean, like, unless you're getting a young, like, active center back, like, I'm not sure what you would even put there. And
exactly.
I think one of the big reasons to not trade Jakob is it's not as short-sighted as, oh, he helps you win. It's actually he helps you develop. He's pretty good for your young bigs, right? In terms of like teaching them the tricks of the trade, if you will. And then on top of that, like, he's really great for your guards. Like, he's great for your, point guards because he can basically teach them how to run pick and roll with a really competent big. And then at some point, there's nothing to say that everything that you're working on with Yak cannot still work with a really competent stretch big at some point if you decide to draft one, right? So the Raptors will need to upgrade off of this at some point. It's very suboptimal to have.
Probably be Bruce, no?
What do you mean? Bruce at the center?
Yeah. No. I thought you mean like we gotta upgrade trade, like who we're gonna trade. Trade deadline.
I think Bruce will get traded regardless if there's any offer for him. I think
Right.
Boucher is probably on the docket as
Boucher
well.
too. Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think the broader point here is that Jakob Poeltl is good for this team right now.
He is. Yeah.
Like,
Right now.
he is very competent at floor raising. He's a great screener. He's a really competent rebounder, and so he just kind of keeps you in games, right? And then
Mhm.
what good is development if you're getting blown out by 45 every night, 40 every night, you
Right.
know? And without Jakob Poeltl, if you put in, I don't know, Bruno Fernando, Jonathan Moe, but the fall off is so drastic right now, right? So
Yeah.
it's tough. Anyways, any final thoughts, Mubz?
Yeah. I like how Ocha has been playing. I wasn't really. I'm not saying I wasn't high on him, but like I didn't expect him to be this good. Like he's just shooting the ball, incredible defending, the best or second best player. I also like how Davion's been playing defensively. I think he's been good. Yeah.
Sure.
So I think the East is wide open. So it depends. If we're decent, we could do something. All right.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot for calling him.
Have a good one,
Appreciate
bro.
it. Yeah. Okay. Lyra Alvarez, what's going on, man?
What's up, Rob? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Just enjoying the YouTube chat. It's very lively today.
It is lively. Yeah.
Yeah,
People
no.
like winning. Who knew?
Yeah, but a lot of people are split. Like it's not the same thoughts that we're all kind of having. That's why it's kind of going off.
What are you thinking?
I want to kind of bring a different look to the conversations in the chat.
Okay. I love
think
different
that-
looks. Let's
I
go.
think the three-headed, monster that we're talking about that hasn't gotten enough time.
BBQ?
BBQ, I don't think I'm going to be early on this. I feel like they're not. They haven't gotten enough time, sure, but I don't like the feel of it. I don't think that they're going to work out. I just think they're kind of like 3 stars. Like I like RJ, in terms of, he can be an offensive machine, but then IQ also feels like a star. And then Scotty also feels like a star. Like they can all kind of push towards like stardom, not super stardom, but they're all good enough that they can all look pretty good with good role players around them, right? Like right now, I see RJ. He looks good with Grady, with an Ochai, right? Like he got good shooters to kind of.
We're 3 and 12. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You're aware. Okay, cool.
But together with IQ and Scotty and RJ, I feel like it's not gonna look great.
Okay. Well, I'll push back on one major thing.
Yeah.
These are not 3 stars. Okay. Like they can all operate like stars, but that would be like saying, the Cleveland Cavaliers have 3 stars. We'll put it this way. Darius Garland's been much better this year, right? But when Donovan Mitchell is out, Darius Garland takes a way more primacy role, right? But what if Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland miss the same game? Well, then Karis LeVert steps into the starting lineup and he's handling a ton of possessions, right? Do they have 3 stars? See my point? Just because someone can function loosely, competently in a high usage role for a short period of time against limited competition doesn't mean they're a star, right?
Do you think RJ could be a role player alongside IQ and Scotty? In the starting 5, right? Like if we're looking at that starting 5, do you think that starting 5 could beat a lot of the other starting 5?
Has a very negative connotation among most Raptor fans and most fans in general. People think of role players, they think of, they think of Horace Grant, they think of Brian Grant. They think a lot of Grants. But I don't think of role players that way at all. I used to think that Kevin Garnett was like the best role player in the NBA and, for the Boston Celtics. I thought it was amazing. I think the cool thing about Scotty is everything works with him, right? He's an unselfish playmaker who's happy to set screens. He's happy to create open looks. And RJ has shown an ability to make quicker decisions with the basketball. So when RJ catches on the catch and shoot, who's the star? The guy who created the shot by collapsing the defense, or the guy who hit the shot by hitting an open 3? Doesn't really matter. You look at Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. was considered a star coming out of high school, right? Yeah, I don't know how old you are if you remember that. He was the number 1 ranked player in the country.
Yeah, he seemed pretty good until the injuries, but yeah.
Sure. But I mean, when they signed him to a max contract, He was averaging 20 plus points per game, and there was still some idea that this guy's going to become an all-star. I mean, just because he hasn't, and he looks like a role player most nights, doesn't mean that he's a star or that he's a role player. He's just a player. He fits next to Jokic because Jokic makes him better. And the question then becomes is, at what point does running your offense exclusively through Emmanuel quickly make you better? Never makes you better, right? You're going to run your offense through your best player if he's available and he's healthy, and he's going to create endless opportunities for everybody else. Now, the one thing I will super disagree on is I don't actually think the BBQ is the core. I actually don't at all. I think there's a clear step between Scotty and Grady and everybody else.
Yeah.
And, Grady's kind of going through the same thing that Scotty went through in year 2, which is his role is going to oscillate, right? Some nights he's going to get 9 shots. Some nights he's going to get 26 shots. And that was what Scotty went through in his second year, right? So I look forward to year 3 Grady, because year 3 Grady is going to be a demon. And, I look forward to current year 4 Scotty, because I have a feeling that player, if he gets some runtime, is going to be a demon as well. And at that point, what Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett become are just incredibly hard to stop players who cannot be guarded in single coverage. RJ will become much more of a rebounder, much more of a, dribble handoff, pass the basketball, connective passer type of guy, as opposed to your LeBron role that he's kind of like flourishing in right now, because it has been mixed results. Like with him playing this way, we are a grand total of 1-8 in the last 8 games. Okay. So like it hasn't been like super pretty.
So results aside, right? When they do come back, IQ and Scotty, do you think Darko will kind of implement this idea that you're thinking of, where year 3 Grady could be one that could really space IQ's game or RJ's game, right? For that game to actually come to fruition, that means the coach will really have to be on board with kind of getting the offense running through Grady as well. I don't think that will happen either. He'll look at the top paid players and kind of be like, all right, you guys run it, right?
Well, Scotty and Grady 2-man action is like goddamn impossible to stop even right now. When Grady becomes even stronger and Scotty becomes a better shooter, it's going to be impossible to stop. So, I mean, you can continue running your offense there's often like low-hanging fruit in offense, and I talked about it in a previous live where the RJ and Yak pick and roll, can only almost ever result in 2 points, right? And 2 points is great when the other team is shooting cold. But when you go up against elite competition and they're designed to stop it with better defenders and better personnel, it's not going to work, at which point you're going to be forced to trade 3s for 2s. You're going to lose every single time. So in the playoffs, this won't work. And I think the Raptors are smart enough to know that, even if they're willing to try it out. What will work in the playoffs, however, is having, 4 players who can go off for 25 on any night. That's a good thing. I listen to a lot of people say, what would happen if the Raptors draft Cooper Flagg? Isn't he too similar to Scotty Barnes? And I'm like, man, that's the problem you're worried about? Wow. That's like some white people problems, like first world problems. They say like first world problems. Yeah. We have 2 incredible 2-way players who are like going to be the best players in their draft class. That's such a fucking problem to have. It's not a problem at all. Oh my God, does RJ Barrett go to the bench if we draft Ace Bailey? Who goes to the bench if we draft VJ Edgecombe? Does Emmanuel Quickley lose his starting job if Nolan Traore comes on? Like all these questions that people have right now, bro, chill. First of all, hardly a single rookie other than Cooper is going to start on this team next year. I mean, if they drafted Ace, that would be different. Yegor Demin, I don't know if you've seen any clips of him.
Yeah, he's the PG, right? The tall PG.
Yeah, so he's the 6'9" point guard for BYU. He's kind of all over the place. I've been digging into him a lot today, and very interested to do a live at some point to dig into some of these prospects. But I have a feeling the second I do that, we're going to go on like a 5-game winning streak, and everything I'm going to say will be toast. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's a weird thing for fans to make themselves miserable about. Like, look at the Chicago Bulls right now. Seeing their roster. Look at the Washington Wizards.
The Pacers.
Pacers to some extent as well. Where's the upside on superstardom anywhere? the hopelessness. Look at the Detroit Pistons roster. Who are they building that around? Is it Cade Cunningham? Am I supposed to be impressed by that? What about the New Orleans Pelicans? Right, Zion Williamson and a disgruntled Brandon Miller. Sorry,
Ingram.
Brandon Ingram. Right, DeJounte Murray, who don't play defense anymore. That's
Because
what
he
I'm
got
supposed to be
paid.
excited about.
He
They
got
got
paid.
paid,
Pascal
right?
Siakam.
So that's my point. It's like, yo, like there's so many teams in this league that have a problem of like, who's our star? If you end up with a problem that, oh, we have 3 players who could be our stars, oh my God, take it and run. I just don't see Emmanuel Quickly like that, and I don't see RJ Barrett like that. I could see a world in which each of them achieve like a single all-star game. Maybe Emmanuel Quickly, I could see him achieving a couple all-star games because of how well he shoots. But I'm just looking around at the East right now. None of these players are better than Franz Wagner right now.
You know, I also say that because they're paid like stars, right? Like you would say IQ did get paid like a star, right?
I don't think so because his contract is flat. So by the end of his contract, he'll be paid like I think 16% or 13% to 14% of the cap. Right now, it's close to 20%. If I'm not mistaken, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think right now it's close to 20%. And because it's flat at 32.5 with the 2.5 being unlikely incentives, it's going to be more or less, it's going to move towards like high level starter as opposed to superstar or star. You know what I mean? Like
Fair enough.
stars are going to get paid more, especially as you see like extensions being signed later. But the difference is the reason that these contracts usually come with 8% raises is to actually keep up with the market, right? You're almost like paying him more upfront right now, right? The 32.5, because he could have signed a less grabby deal. So the dollars and cents on 32.5 flat over 5 years is relatively similar to 27.5 with standard raises or 28.5 with standard raises. So you give him more money up front so that he takes less on the back end, which is great because it allows you more cap flexibility. And the Raptors kind of get away with something really smart there because not only does that make him a more appetizing contract, because right now you're eating money when you have cap space. 5 years from now, you might be desperate for cap space and he's going to cost a lot less. See my point? So I don't think he's paid like a star. And 4 years from now, he definitely won't be paid like a star. And if you're banking on him getting better through this contract, which hopefully they are, then he could go from like marginally overpaid this year to modestly fairly paid next year to criminally underpaid in year 3 where he'll be 27. And then by 28, he could be like one of the cheapest contracts in the league. So you get my point?
Yeah. When
Yeah.
he's possibly in his prime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's a great shooter. And I mean, like, again, like some people are calling him injury prone. He's played a lot of minutes. Like he's played a lot of games for New York. A lot of games. He has not been injury prone through any other portion of his career. Kentucky, he was healthy. New York, he was healthy. There's just a bad string of injuries. It's going to go away and he's going to be fine.
I think he's got 3 injuries that are just this season, right? Like I don't think that any of them were really his fault, right? Like he doesn't play clumsy or maybe Scotty, like we've talked about this before. Scotty is more prone to injuries in my opinion because of his style of play for right now. Maybe that will get better, but no, IQ, I think they were freak injuries. Even with Scotty, like the hand fracture was ridiculous. That like
hand
the chances
fracture,
for that.
face fracture. What injury has
was
Scotty had in the last year that was a wear and tear or run jump injury? You know what I mean?
The face fracture, I would say, kind of happened because he took a bad shot, then kind of ran into to try to grab a rebound.
Guys do that 100 times a game. 100 times a game. You know what I mean? It's just Jokic. You know, I'm gonna share something with you that I haven't talked about on air ever, but this is a really interesting story, and I was thinking about it the other day. I had been banned from Facebook for one time in my life. Do you know what it was for?
No, shoot.
Okay, this is gonna surprise a lot of people. In Scotty's rookie season, he went at Jokic, like hardcore, went at Jokic, and Jokic was not taking it, and he was hitting him really hard every single play. Like
that's when Scotty was playing center or like covering for center, right?
Yeah, I think it was. And Scotty's just banging with this dude, and he is hitting him, and he's getting away with some cheap shots too. And please understand, Jokic is one of my favorite players. I come from the same country, so obviously I'm pretty much sworn to love him for life. And I have done a lot to support him, through Pensar Basketball and all our reels and posts. I have been generally 100% for him since his rookie season. However, that play that I saw him and he kind of took a cheap shot on Scotty, and it was just so aggravating because Scotty looked so upset. And it was just, you're watching a 20-year-old rookie doing this. I wrote on Facebook, someone needs to go and punch Nikola Jokic.
Damn.
And Facebook banned me for 3 days for inciting violence. That's interesting. So now, thinking back on that, to now literally this happening where he breaks Scotty's face, a lot of people are very, very upset with Nikola Jokic calling him dirty and stuff like that. I don't necessarily think he's dirty. I think he's just really, really physical. So, yeah, I don't know. It's difficult for me to call him dirty. I don't think he's dirty, but I do
No,
think
I
he's
wouldn't- I
very,
wouldn't
very
say that.
physical, and he throws his weight around, and he's extremely active with those arms. Like, he gets away with everything, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Anyways.
smart. He's nimble. He uses the rules of the game to benefit his game. Like that simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last thing I would say is the Yak trade topic, right? Like I don't know. I think I've heard you talk about this as well, where players develop when there is space to be developed, right? Like right now, I would say Yak is helping Jamal Shed and Davion Mitchell and stuff like that, right? Like
I agree. Yeah.
Space to work. He's creating that. Like they're working on their game. But what if we do trade him, right? Do you think that would force some of the other players to kind of get better at developing certain parts of their game that they wouldn't have if they didn't have a competent center?
There's no point in doing something that you're never going to do, right? That's not development. So I've been looking into development a lot. You'll understand that I've interviewed numerous trainers on this channel, not because I myself am looking to try out for the G League at the ripe age of 36. It's largely because I have a particular fascination with player development, and I really just want to learn as much about it as I can from these trainers. So we've had 3, 4, 5, 6 interviews on this channel, but I've also had 100 different conversations off air, via Twitter and connecting with people on Instagram and stuff like that. So one thing that you learn is that you don't want to do anything at the wrong pace in the wrong style. So if you're not going to become a pull-up shooter, if you're not going to be a hang dribble, one right pull-up shooter, we don't need you doing that. If all you're ever going to be is a pick and roll ball handler, right, coming off of solid screens and finding the drop, then I need you to have reps doing that, so that at some point you can replicate some element of that skill set and success with another big. Maybe that's Ulrich in a couple of years, right? So it's a learning environment. Having Jonathan Mobo cross up everybody and try to launch 40 footers isn't going to help anybody. Having RJ Barrett taking step back middies, as he dribbles one-on-one into the paint doesn't help anybody. That's not what his future is going to be. So it doesn't matter. That was the first thing. So don't do things, in practice that you're not going to do in the game, and don't do things in game that you haven't done in practice. It's there's got to be some sort of symbiotic relationship.
I would push back because Scotty, if
Scotty's
he didn't
different.
start, okay, that's what I mean, right? He maybe wouldn't have developed if we didn't push him to kind of keep shooting and keep shooting and keep shooting.
But that was never what I said. So Scotty's path forward is always going to be as a shooter, right? You have to develop him into a shooter. But that doesn't mean that does mean you can control for the type of shots that he's taking, right? You want him coming off a screen and taking a shot. You want him taking one dribble pull up. You don't necessarily need him to do all the extracurricular stuff. You don't need him to do 18 dribbles trying to
DeMar DeRozan shit.
Exactly. Right. So again, it's repetitions. The other thing that you realize is guys, there's a lot of guys. You mentioned that you played basketball. There's a lot of guys that don't practice hard. And that doesn't mean that they're not trying. It just means they don't practice at game speed. So, and one of the things that a trainer that I talked to really talked about was dribbling hard. The hard dribble, pull up, right? It's weird, but I can tell when I'm watching some of these guys shooting around prior to the game, they're not doing it right. And I wonder why that is. But when you see a player who's really locked in to their craft, like a DeMar DeRozan, ironically, but also a Damian Lillard, a Steph Curry,
Devin Booker,
Devin
all the way.
Booker, the KD.
The hard dribble, yeah.
Yeah, that part of it is so succinct, is so consistent always, and the results show because they take everything at game speed, right? They're not getting injured, they're not hurting themselves, they're doing everything at game speed, and they're taking the shots in practice and in shoot around that they're actually going to be doing in the game. You can literally watch Kevin Durant prior to a game or Steph Curry prior to the game doing the exact same stuff. You know who I'm seeing a lot of this from this year? Grady. He is someone that I've been observing a lot, and I'm just getting higher and higher and higher on his upside because of how I see him working. And yeah, that's yeah. So I don't know. Point being, you need a center because you're trying to develop pick and roll ball handlers. You're trying to develop a lot of pick and roll ball handlers, and this system is going to require a lot of pick and roll with, Yak and Kelly and Bruce. It's going to require a lot of cutters. It's going to require baseline cuts and Iverson cuts, 45 cuts, whatever. It's going to require a ton of movement. It's going to require and again, you're trying to create gaps because you have a gifted playmaker and a gifted movement shooter, and you're trying to create a system that accommodates them both, right? I don't see how RJ or IQ get in the way of that. I don't see how Jakob Poeltl doesn't help facilitate that and make it a lot better. But yeah, it's a lot like Golden State. You think about it. You have a gifted big playmaker, Draymond Green. You have a gifted movement shooter, Steph Curry. Right? It's moving target, right? You have one player who's incredible at getting into the paint and dissecting the shit out of the basketball and pushing it up. You have another player who's excellent at catching off of movement 40 feet, 35 feet away from the basket, and it just stretches everything out. And that's when you open up for Andrew Wiggins. That's how you open up for Klay Thompson. And so how different are Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins than RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley? See what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. All right,
Fair
man.
enough.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah,
I always
good talk.
appreciate it. Yeah.
All right, take care.
Cheers. Good one. Okay, let's get to Jakob Poeltl, and I got to go get some water. And then we're going to get to Darko Rajakovic. I don't know if the Raptors have posted this, but I'm going to post it.
You were talking about how the force you're playing with, in addition to the way you're reading the game, and he said it's something he's talked to you a lot about this time here, to play with more force, and that trying to get you to realize that you can do certain things inside on offense. Why do you think that maybe doesn't come naturally to you, and why do you think it's recently you have been playing with that force and maybe looking for your own offense a little more?
I don't think, maybe there's like a little bit of a mindset change with me personally, but I think more than anything, the reason why I feel like I'm getting more opportunities is just within the flow of our offense, like our guys are finding me. And like, yeah, there's situations when I'm catching a rhythm because I'm getting a couple of easy ones, then it feels more comfortable. Like I feel like I have more of a flow, and it's easier to just like every now and then maybe break out of a play, like if I feel like I see something, or like be more aggressive in a certain situation. So maybe it's that. Honestly, to me, it doesn't feel like I'm doing that much like differently. I think the opportunities just present themselves like in a different way than they used to.
Starting with the Detroit game, like even if you weren't right at the rim, it really seemed like 10 feet, the little push shot, the little floater, you were ready to take it. Is that sort of the rhythm you're talking about? Like once you get comfortable with like a layup, it's easier to start taking those?
Yeah, I've always liked that shot. I work on that shot a lot. I think the biggest difference right now is like, and it kind of started with Davion, to be honest. Like he was really looking for me in those situations to get to my floater there, get a rhythm going, and then it kind of carried over to a couple other guys. Like it's been really good with RJ lately, where our two-man game has been great, where they attack the paint hard, and then I kind of get to step in behind and get to my shot there, and I still have the ability to read the play out of it. If I feel like the defense is sinking in, I can make like a continuous play out of it.
What's it feel like picking up a box score and seeing 30 or 35 or 25 and 19? And you've been in the league a long time. You've played a lot of good basketball games, but it must be kind of a different feeling.
Yeah, it feels nice. It's a little bit of throwback to like college times, I guess. I don't know. I've always said this, and like I've always prided myself on just like looking for my opportunities, like playing winning basketball, like whatever role that may be. And right now, like especially with the type of the rhythm I'm having, like the shots feel good, like the floaters feel good. I feel like I can be productive out there, like. And yeah, with what I said earlier, like with my teammates finding me so much, that's just what how the game like comes to me. And then yeah, kind of like what you said. Obviously, it feels nice to then at the end of the game see a good stat line. But yeah.
One of the things that Masai has said a bunch of times, one of the reasons why he wanted to go and get you back is that he saw you as a fit with this team regardless of direction, older team, younger team, whatever. Is that adaptability that you talked about in your game, like the ability to kind of just adapt to whatever is around you and fit it in that way? Is that sort of how you see it?
I think so. Yeah, I think I can play a lot of different roles out there. Like obviously, I'm not going to be like a stretch big or anything like that, but I can be more involved. I can be like a secondary option. I can be just like somebody that helps their teammates out, like get them open, get the flow of the offense going. So yeah, that's definitely something I pride myself in. And like different teams, different stages of like NBA teams, like we're a very young team, a new team right now, like require different things. So I just try to like do what I think is best out there for our team.
You mentioned earlier that Davion has really gotten you going in the pick and roll. He and RJ, like not every guard looks for the pocket pass, the check down that often. Has it been really nice to play with two guys who really value that pass and see you?
Yeah, of course. Like it helps me a lot, and I think it helps them in exchange. Like if we get the defense to second guess constantly, like not knowing, like they're worried about a roller, then like we're getting other things out of it. We're getting the weak side open. They're getting their own shots more easily. So I think developing that and like really being a threat there, a two-way threat, like the handler and the roller, is huge for us.
How important? How important was this win in terms of keeping spirits high in the locker room as you're waiting for guys to come back from injury?
I mean, I'd say our spirits were, even though we're on a little bit of a losing streak, our spirits were still fairly high, considering the circumstances. Like we realized, I think, as a team that we were playing good basketball. We just couldn't figure out a way to get over the hump. So yes, obviously losing sucks, and like it's not like we were in super high spirits, but I think, like I said, considering the circumstances, it was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys heard the celebration in the locker room. Like obviously, like there was a little bit of a relief factor with it, and it's obviously great to get that winning feeling back.
Thanks.
Was enough good execution in the full fourth quarter to
yeah, I mean, we scored 34 points. They did a good job in the fourth quarter, scored 37, and good enough offensively to get some shots and to explore some of the matchups that we were hunting. Still, I think we did not do a good enough job with rebounding the ball there. I think they were getting some second chance points, and obviously whole game was the story of the turnovers. But at the end, we were able to get to the free throw line enough and to score enough to close this game.
You sense these guys, they needed to win just for their own mental well-being?
I think if you ask me, do I prefer to win or lose? I always prefer to win, and I think all of us we're going to agree. For sure, I think that I get it what you're asking, Doug. For sure, I know.
This is some massive projection going on here. This team is not in the terrible spirits that the media think they're in. They're not in the terrible spirits that the fan base is in. That's the weirdest thing about it, and that's what hopefully followers of this channel, at least close followers of this channel, some of our deeper dives will understand, is that this narrative of the Raptors are imploding, the Raptors are depressed because they're on this losing streak is totally myth. It's a myth. This team is vibrant. Their spirits are super high. I've talked to people who cover this team closely in the locker room after the games. They're like, there's so much chatter. They're always supporting each other. The practices are vibrant. It's to the point where it's deafening. Sometimes the practices are deafening, and that is a really, really good sign. People are talking constantly. the Raptors 2021-2022 season, it was like a graveyard shift. Every time you went in, people didn't want to be there. This is not the way this team is trending. So I just kind of wish the media would cut out this whole like, oh, you really need this one to lift your spirits. It's like, no, you needed this one to lift your spirits. That's different.
How much this group is working, how much they love each other and support each other. So once we go out there and get a win, that gives them extra boost of energy to continue working hard and playing hard.
The performance you're getting out of Jakob, I mean, he's been very good all season, but this last 10 days has been exceptional. Is it something that you can kind of begin to depend on in terms of his offensive contribution? Is it something you're
I think what they're doing over here really well is team is finding him. He's playing really well in pick and rolls. He's getting better in reading when defense is going over and under and finding his pocket pass. And he's been, as you can see, he's playing with more force going downhill and trying to dunk some of those situations. That's a testament to his work. That's the testament that everything that he did over the course of the summer. And if he continues like this, we're going to have another all-star player.
Obviously, Garrett has been a primary voice, prominent voice in the room for a while, but how much do you think it helps to have a night like this where...
I just want to say the last time Darko boldly claimed someone was an all-star, they actually became one, and that was Scotty Barnes. I also want to say Jakob Poeltl should probably hire Darko Rajakovic to be his agent, because that was a great plug.
Younger guys can see that he's not just preaching it, he can actually go out there and get it done.
It's huge. And it's so fun to see younger guys and his teammates that cheer for him. They want him to succeed, but also to see the standard that he's setting over there. It's awesome. All he's doing, he's just executing our schemes and what we need to do on a really, really high level. That's being professional. That's knowing the game plan. He's the one who's always asking questions, helping coaches, teammates, everybody to be on the same page. He's doing an outstanding job. At the same time, he's allowing younger guys to have the voice and to be leaders themselves as well.
You mentioned Jakob playing with more force in addition to all the other stuff. Is that something you ever have to have a conversation with him about, or is it just coming
A lot. Yak, you can dunk the ball. Yak, you can go be lob threat. Yak, do this. Yak, do that. And again and over again. He did not believe, but then he started to question it, and then he's believing it more and more now. So definitely a lot of...
I just want to say that trying to convince a 7-footer that he can dunk the basketball is hilarious.
Conversations, a lot of film, and a lot of work. And again, credit to him of being coachable and making a progress.
What did you think of his dunk? Grady found him and he had a nice one tonight.
Say again?
What did you think of Yak's dunk?
Yak dunks?
Yeah,
he can do better than that.
Prior to the season, you mentioned that you thought Grady's passing was really underrated, and we hadn't really seen it yet. I think he had 4 or 5 checkdowns out of the blitz today. What did you make of his passing today?
He has very good feel for the pass. He's going to find pocket passes. He's going to find his teammates. Right now, he's dealing to survive all the physicality and all the contact that he's facing on the court. And once he figures out that part, and with his shooting ability and playmaking ability, I think that's going to just open up another chapter of his game. Really proud of his consistency, really proud of his progress on defense is really, really impressive. As much as we're talking about offense, as you can see, we're not hiding him in any matchups or anything. He's guarding 1 through 4, anybody on the court, and he's doing a pretty solid job of holding his ground.
Cool. Okay, I want to show you guys the celebration from the locker room. This is Jakob Poeltl winning the chain.
I went today, and this one today, across the board, a lot of great performance, but this one goes to Yak.
Cool. Paradise Lost saying hello to you as well. All right, cool. Okay, how good has Jakob been? Is all this glaze worth it? Is it fair? Let's talk about it. Okay, so let's pull up the stats because I think the stats will tell the truth about this. And again, this does not include tonight. That is a happy moment. You know, you work really hard. He's obviously a very, very hard worker. And let's just take a look at what he's done so far this year. Right. So again, the numbers are crazy. Per 100 possessions is a career high for him. 24 points per 100 possessions is a career high. 17.3 rebounds per game per 100 possessions, career high. 3.7 turnovers, also a career high. The question of turning him into Sabonis, I'm sorry, a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio is not Sabonis or Jokic, but nevertheless, he's cleaned up some of his turnovers. He had an egregious amount of turnovers tonight, and pretty much most of his high usage games have been super high turnover games. In terms of box plus minus, if I sort this year, it's one of his worst years ever. It was up until last game his second worst year ever, but now it is his third worst year ever. He had a better year in Toronto last year. He had a much, much better year in Toronto when he first got here, if I remember correctly, right? Where was it? Hang on one second. It was, yeah, the 50 games. No, man, where the hell is this? Are we missing? This was the year that he got here, 22-23. I'm not sure why they're not splitting that up there. But nevertheless, like it's been good. But let's compare him to a player that a lot of people undisputedly count as a top 10 center, which is Jared Allen. And I just want to see it. I just want to see what the numbers look like head to head. And again, I've been pretty critical of Jakob Poeltl's defense this year because it has taken a massive regression. It's been a huge, big part of why the Raptors have regressed overall. Let's just take a look. Great. He's averaging more points, more rebounds, more assists, more steals, more blocks, or the same amount of blocks. Less efficient, less efficient from the field. Okay, cool. If you look at the stats, like the analytics and the per 100 stats, you get a little bit of a different picture, right? So they're both averaging 17.3 rebounds per 100, similar blocks, 2 versus 2, similar steals. Yak averages more, right? Across the board. The only difference is Jared Allen's just more efficient, right? He's shooting 66%, Yak's shooting 59%. But Yak's field goal percentage is actually a career low. If I'm pretty sure that this, if I look at his career percentages, because he has just been so goddamn efficient. Yeah, this is his second worst field goal percentage of his life. So if he starts trending closer, like again, in the previous game, he had a 16 for 19 game. Tonight, he was very efficient. If he starts getting close to like 70%, he's going to live up to the prophecy of Masai Ujiri calling him a top 10 center. He's entered that conversation of a top 15 center for me right now. And 2-3 months ago, I would have said he's probably like not a top 20 center right now. So that's big progress for Yak, right? With Johnny A saying without Yak, we're really bad. That's definitely true. You know, you'd be pretty bad without him. But I think it's also important to realize that he's 29 years old. And there's still a really good chance that the Raptors will trade him at some point, largely because he's talked about wanting to be on a competitive team, largely because playing him next to a Scotty Barnes as a non-shooter is a really clunky fit unless he figures out how to be effective in those situations. And it's really difficult because they dominate all the same places on the court. So again, the long-term fit with some of these pieces is weird. But while you're here, you do have assets that you do have to keep the value high, right? Jakob Poeltl's on a long-term deal. Emmanuel Quickley's on a long-term deal. Does it matter to me that Emmanuel Quickley will or won't be on this team 3 years from now? No, it matters to me that his contract value remain very good and very positive throughout the life of his Raptor tenure, however long it is. Maybe Emmanuel Quickley retires a Raptor. Maybe Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett both retire a Raptor. Maybe Jakob Poeltl retires a Raptor. Who the hell am I to say they won't or they will? You know? But the point here is to sustain and maintain contract flexibility and player value. And you are putting Jakob Poeltl in a lot of positions to be successful right now, and you're putting RJ Barrett in position to be successful. I would argue you're putting every single player on this team in positions to be successful. What I would like more in games in the future, if possible, is for more Grady touches. I think that it's super important for him to get comfortable with the energy that it takes to take 15 to 18 shots every night. I don't see the reason that Jonathan Mobo, when we're so depleted, is getting 11 minutes. I think he can use a few more, especially when he's playing reasonably well. Running Jakob 37 minutes a night might be a feeling of necessity, right? And again, tonight, the Indiana Pacers had nothing. Obi Toppin is not stopping Jakob Poeltl, right? But teams that will have the big that can sort of bump with him, we saw it with Ivica Zubac in LA Clippers, where, Yak struggled. Yak struggled against that size. So if a team is going to play Luke Cornett, Nemes Keita, Obi Toppin, Pascal Siakam, Freeman, these people, Yak is going to beast. Yak is going to beast, just like Mark Williams would beast, just like Jalen Duren would beast, just like Ivica Zubac would beast, just like Jonas Valanciunas would beast. What is really going to change the game for me with Jakob is his defense taking a positive step up. Tonight, his defense was decent, and I appreciated that. So Ash saying Yak is still improving. Well, isn't that the beautiful thing about Darko Rajakovic as a coach in general, is that he sees the upside and potential all the way through, So that's a really good thing. You don't want your coach to be quitting on players just because they're 30. I'm sure he's still trying to develop Garrett Temple right now, trying to make him a better leader. And people appreciate that. Do you know what I mean? There's something very interesting about it. And let me get into the final portion. Johnny A saying 6 turnovers for Yak tonight. Yes, he was very turnover prone tonight. Let me get to the final portion of this in the last 8 minutes. Nothing makes your life better than doing good things for others, right? There's a feeling of that. There's a chemical that is released in your brain that makes you feel good when you're doing nice things for others, and it makes you more generous. Generally speaking, if you have that feeling of wellness and goodness, you're going to be more generous. You're going to be better, right? You're going to be less stressed. Players who are less stressed are going to be better players. They're going to be able to take guidance. They're going to be able to retain information. You're really priming people and putting them in a good atmosphere to learn. You know what I mean? There's this old, maybe some people believe that people are best at learning when they're beaten. No, they're not, actually. They learn bad lessons when they're beaten. Really bad lessons. A lot of talk about how our environments shape our minds for forever, how people who grew up around dilapidated housing and lower income housing and people who had access to poor health care and poor schooling have a permanent disadvantage through life. But it's also the stress factor of living in dangerous neighborhoods and the kind of fear factor that goes into that, how your cortisone levels strike and how it's really difficult to focus on how to get an A or a B when you're legitimately worried about getting beat up at home. You got to put people in positions where they can succeed. There's this old thing that Mark Cuban once said. I used to follow Mark Cuban back in the year 2000, 2001, 2002. I was following Mark Cuban for financial advice, ironically. And he had this one gem that really changed my life, and I'll share it with you. He said, most people try to go from broke to rich. It's very difficult to go from broke to rich. You got to go from broke to comfortable, and then from comfortable to rich. And I think that that's fair. It's very difficult to be in that sort of, fight or flight mode all the time, and then trying at the same time to be trying to build an empire. You got to take care of your base needs first. So the base needs here are, I'm in an environment where I'm trusted. I'm in an environment where I'm happy to go to work. I'm excited to get up and go to the gym. It's not a drag. I don't feel like my captain and my coach is going to berate me and be unfair to me. You know what I mean? And you need to do that for all your members. You need to do that for Garrett Temple as much as you need to do that for Chris Boucher. You need to do it for Jakob Poeltl, even if he is on the trading block, even if he knows it, even if he doesn't know it. You need to do that for your assistant coaches, because this is what environments are built on. You can't build an environment where you're only pouring into 3 people and telling everyone to fuck off. That's not how good environments are built. And also, I think that it's worth noting that you have a vested interest for all of these players to get better. They also, because they're here, and you must have vetted this before you brought them here, have a vested interest in them to get better. So you will always have that point of communication where everything is consistent and everything is clear, that you and I are working together to make you better, not make me better. You and I are not working to make me better. As a coach, you have to have, the player has to trust that what you're telling them is for their benefit. Long term, Garrett Temple is as actively engaged with this team than he has been on any team that he's been on. And he's been a great pro for as long as he's been in the NBA. But understand that his special place on this team is making him better. He's getting on the job training for how to become a coach on the next level. And he's getting it from a really good coach. And he's getting a chance to build those relationships and massage the egos and have the tough conversations and build up Scotty. You know what I mean? Like, he's always in Scotty's ears, always sitting next to Scotty. Scotty's like, so that element of it is mutually beneficial. And that's so important. Young saying, thank you for the super chat here. Darko's vibe, Nurse's vibe. It's showing through player development. 100%. 100% it does. Right? So I starred this comment because I wanted to respond to it very briefly, which is, how did you get into podcasting? I got into podcasting because I was petrified of being on camera. And I like to do things that terrify me. So partially by necessity, I had a brain tumor back in 2018, 2019. And once it was removed in 2019, I had trouble speaking. Like, I couldn't speak properly for months. And so to monitor my progression, to make sure it was going the right way, I needed recordings. And to record myself, I used my phone. And at some point, I was like, well, I don't just want to say the same sentence every single day. So let me just talk freely, because that was the advice from the doctor. Talk freely. And I would record myself talking about anything. I'd talk about basketball, talk about life, talk about, my surgery, talk about my recovery, talk about better eating habits. And in order to get feedback, I would post this on Facebook for my friends. I had never, ever prior to this posted a video of myself deliberately. I'm the person at a party who runs away from the pictures. I don't want to be in pictures. I don't fancy myself that much where I'm like, oh, everyone got to take pictures of me. I got to put my face on everything. I hate that. So that turned into a very dedicated following on Facebook, where people were like, oh my God, your videos are really helping me out. And then I would start posting on Raptors Facebook groups. And at some point, a couple of people noticed that things that I was writing on those Facebook groups was getting a lot of attention. And they noticed that I was a basketball writer in a past life. So I guess they Googled me. And a couple of them wanted me to come on their shows and talk. And I was like, well, that's not that complicated. And in order to get practice for what was Penn Dance going virtual and us having to do this and me having to host Penn Dance virtually for the whole, for our global audience, I wanted to get some on the mic training. So then I started going on these little podcasts, and this Basketball Zone and To the Point and little podcasts like that. And one thing led to another. And I was like, wait, I don't have to do this for other people. I can just do this for myself. So I started this channel, and I didn't do much with it. I think I posted 3-4 videos, and we had like 100 subscribers. And for the first year, it was just like that. Didn't do much with it. And after seeing one of my videos, a really big Raptors media company reached out to me, and they said, how would you like to come work for us? And then when I saw what they were offering, I was like, no, it's okay. I can make more money with Pensar Basketball. And they were just like, it's going to take you years to get monetized. You don't have a lot of subscribers. We have a lot of subscribers. So I was just like, I didn't like that conversation. I didn't like their pay structure. I felt it was very predatory. I understand there's not a lot of money in media, but I just didn't like what they were offering. And so I said, I decided to bet on myself, and it's paid off, because a few months ago, we collectively have more subscribers than them now. So that's the story of how I got into podcasting. I hope that was informative, insightful, or something for you at all. M. Jones saying, I remember this, been there. Yeah. You are very well spoken. While I certainly wasn't when I started, there was a lot of ums and there was a lot of ahs and there was a lot of pauses and there was a lot of editing. And yeah, live videos are a way for me to test my ability to speak off the cuff. There's no script here. I don't ever have a script. I usually don't have a plan. I just get on here and I speak and I try to make sure that I make some sense. And the fact that there's over 400 people here past midnight is very gratifying and very humbling. So thank you all for supporting this community, and thank you all for supporting me, and thank you all for, these incredibly generous super chats. Recruiter Dude, Paradise Lost, Young, right? Rank Scrub, Greg, Deshane Waves, Liam, Felicia, Mitsu, Liam, and Justin Stewart, and Samuel Barefoot. Please email me about the e-transfer. I can e-transfer you the $2 back. So yeah, overall, thank you all for your generous support. Yesterday, if you didn't watch the live on The Raptors Are Not Tanking, we started something called the Fourth Quarter Gang. And since there's a lot more of you in here tonight than there were last night when we did this live at nearly 4 a.m., I'll invite you to join the Fourth Quarter Gang too. The Fourth Quarter Gang is really simple. It comes from a philosophy from Brian Macon, Scotty's trainer. And basically the philosophy is that a lot of people like to start things strong, but what about finishing things strong? And Scotty's trainer is a really big believer in starting, is finishing things strong. So when he sees it's like November 30th, he's like, boom, got to close the year strong. Whereas a lot of people see it as November 30th. They're like, this year's already done. What am I going to do with this year? Let me start anew on January 1st. But you know what? There's a reason why Brian's successful and a lot of people are not successful. And it's largely because the mentality of do it later is what makes you unsuccessful in life. So what I did yesterday was I showed a picture of what I looked like pre-pandemic. This was Rob pre-pandemic, looking like a friggin' athlete. And I don't look like that right now because I don't take care of myself nearly as much. I'm not going to the gym as much. So what I said was from this day, which was November 18th yesterday, till the end of the year, I'm going to grind. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do everything. And so I invite you, Fourth Quarter Gang, to do this with me, to do this as a community together, so we can be an almost like a support group and a constant reminder to each other to close the year out strong. So as I mentioned last night, whatever it is that you have been lagging on, sending out those resumes, changing your job, doing something about your relationship, fixing your relationship, having a difficult conversation with a family member, spending more time with your kids, making more money. Maybe you have a financial goal that kind of feels out of reach right now. Go for it. The worst thing that you can do is not succeed. No, it's not. That's not the worst thing you can do. The worst thing you do is not try. You might not think that 41, 42 days is a long time. 42 days is an eternity when well spent. So this community has given me so much constantly. It's allowed me to live out a dream of mine, which is to be able to talk about basketball for a living, which is super cool. Very gratifying. I don't think I deserve it. I have a lot of imposter syndrome sometimes, but it's been well earned. But it's also very humbling and deeply gratifying. And so if there's something I can do for you, reach out to me. Reach out to me via email. If there's a particular problem you're having that I can help with in some particular way, I'm sure, it would give me a lot of pleasure to help you as well, because you've certainly helped me by being a community member here and allowing me to do something that's so meaningful to me. And again, I'll share this with you because a lot of great people have shared this with me throughout my life. It is that the things that we give others is what really gives us joy. We get so much from giving others. And so, yeah, giving a little back would be my pleasure. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great night. Good win, Raptors. It doesn't change anything, but it does change my mood for the night. It's nice to win one. I'm going to be on the panel tomorrow, Player's Choice. Ron, who hosts the panel, is a super Pacers fan who shits on the Raptors constantly. So if you want to see me talk shit to Ron for 3 hours straight and troll him endlessly about Tyrese Haliburton and Pascal Siakam and Myles Turner and all these bums, you better tune into the panel tomorrow at 11 a.m. on Player's Choice. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great one. I'm pretty sure he's going to ban me after tomorrow. Oh, shit. Pepper Jack with an enormous super chat. Just wanted to show my appreciation for all the work you do, man. Love your content. Keep it up. That's very, very generous of you. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Like I really appreciate all of it. The e-transfers, the time. We had nearly 100 people here last night at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. How do we have 100 people in a live at 4 a.m.? That's all love. It's all appreciated. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. Ghost has IQ saying W Pepper. Yeah, thank you very much, man. That's very, very deeply appreciated. Anyways, guys, have a great morning, night, and saying W, hit the like on your way out. I would super appreciate it. 400 people could hit 400 likes. We get this video out to more people, build our community. We are for the positivity. 100%, man. Also, I really want to do a draft breakdown. 100%. I've been digging into prospects literally all day. All I did today was watch film. I devoted 8 hours of my day to watching nothing but basketball film. I'm exhausted because I watched 8 hours of film and then I did this and then, I watched the basketball game. So it's been nonstop basketball, but it's been great for my brain. I'm very excited to talk to you about a whole bunch of prospects. I'm not going to say I discovered them because obviously I didn't discover them, but a lot of prospects. We're going to get the best draft coverage on this channel. I'm committed to it. This year, I want every Raptor fan to be like the most informed draft pundit on the air. Okay? Talk to you guys later. DJ Screwbox saying, that's a great name, by the way. Excited for the breakdown. Absolutely, guys. Talk to you guys later. And Cersei Cat saying, yeah, Gore. Yes. I watched, what? One of the things I like to do with draft prospects, I don't only like to watch tape, full games, highlights, all of it, but I like to watch interviews. Yegor's interviews really, really had a lot of green flags in them. Talk to you guys later, man. See ya. Night, fourth quarter crew. Yep, fourth quarter gang. Don't be afraid of the gang affiliation. Got to go with the gang. You've probably never been a part of gang. It's okay. You be part of our gang. All right.